Hello and welcome to today's episode of Ask a Hypnotherapist. I am Tanya Creasser, a clinical hypnotherapist based in Chicago, Illinois. And with me today is my co-hostess with the mostest, and her name is Jazmin Calderon. Hi, Jazmin.
Hi, everyone. I'm with Hypnosis with Jazmin and Release and Conceive, and I'm a hypnotherapist in Florida.
And today we are talking about this big eclipse. It's a big one.
That's right. I
And
actually had a question for Tanya, and
yes,
said
ma'am.
it's about how does astrology and hypnotherapy go together?
That is a great question. And for me, it's because I use the phases of the moon to subconsciously change our pathways. Like, it's a great time on both of those events because we have different moons. We have a full moon, and we have a new moon. And on the full moon, when everything has accumulated and it's time to do a big release of all the accumulated energy of the month, you can see how your intentions and everything manifested. It is a harvest time. And that's why in the fall we have our harvest moons. But it's also a great time to release. And during the new moon is a great time to set the intentions that we want to harvest on that full moon. So in the new moon, we attract things to us. And as hypnotherapists, we really use a lot of laws, nature, laws of nature. So we use the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, the law of
Repetition, love.
repetition. I can't think of the other ones now, but we'll talk more about those laws on another episode.
That's true. We could do one on each law because that would
Yeah,
be interesting and a good review for us. Uh,
definitely. But when using those laws of attraction and using those energies of the new moon, because that is naturally the best time to set intentions and watch them manifest during that lunation. So on the new moon, when we're setting intentions, you know, all those positive things that you want to see in your life, and the more you visualize them and the more you feel them out, and that's why mind mapping is another really amazing tool. um you can set those affirmations in your subconscious mind. I mean, that's great. And the best way to have a nice warm fertile ground for those affirmations is to release all the shit that you don't want anymore that wasn't working on the full moon. So on the full moon, I do a release hypnosis, and then on the new moon, I do an attraction hypnosis.
mm,
So that's how I tied the two together because I always had a curiosity about astrology. And I thought once I started working in hypnotherapy, it was time to put away those fun tools and, just use them as a hobby. But as it turns out, the more people are awakening to using different and alternative methods of metaphysical sciences.
mhm.
We charge crystals by the moon now, and we do astrology, and and it's not even about that. It's more about the phases of the earth. It's not a spiritual thing or a religious thing, or even it's more than anything a cultural thing. We've been doing rituals around the moon phases for years. There's a whole farmer's almanac built around
Mm,
how to work with
oh.
the energies of the moon, gardening and cutting your hair and canning, and it's physical nature. So
So,
I
which one came first, though, Tanya, for you personally? Like, was your interest in astrology and the moon phases and all that come first, or did hypnotherapy come first?
it was actually the moon, and I wasn't even interested in any of it until I moved to Colorado and I can actually see all the phases.
Mhm.
There's not a whole lot of natural lights out here because everything's high rises. Um, but I I started watching the moon and I started noticing my own physical changes around the energies of the moon when I became more mindful. When you disconnect from all the electricity energy that we have a lot of false energy around us. It's electric and lighting and screens and powered up and has to be recharged. And when we disconnect from all of those energies and we can sit our ass on the planet and look at nature around us, it disconnects you from that electricity, but it connects you to that real energy of the earth. So, and that's where I feel a lot more connected to the energies. And I started becoming more aware of how I would feel, during different lunar events. And I kind of just started doing like investigation on the moon and its rituals. That's how I realized about the farmer's almanac, because somebody told me I don't work on certain days because they're not beneficial days to cut your hair, and was a hairdresser. And I started looking into that more. And then I really enjoyed not necessarily astrology, because I do like the planets and everything. I'm not an astrologer yet, but I do love the moon and its phases. And I work with that a lot with my hypnotherapy. I work with that to even teach people how to connect with themselves using those phases. And so for me, it was definitely the moon first. And then when I had the opportunity to look at it through a hypnotherapist, I looked at the potential of really doing the shadow work and the deep healing, and just seeding new potential into the fresh mind. The healed with the shadows integrated, the inner child healing, and it's just like, okay, now that we have washed away all those things, what can we bring in? So that's how I started doing the group hypnosis, is with um, releasing and attracting.
So now that you talked about that you're doing it in groups, where can
Mhm.
people find these groups so that way they can experience it with you?
So I am doing moon rituals. I do workshops on the new and the full moon. You can find a link on my website, shinespirituality.com. Um, and I also just started these because, believe it or not, I have a lot of demand for them. So I think it's a great thing. I actually prefer to help people get through these phases of the moon and of our own life, because just like the moon goes in phases, so do we. And that way I can kind of tell people about like different effects that the energies around us have, in that phase. Like for this brand new moon coming up on April the 8th, there's a big eclipse happening, and there's an eclipse with a super new moon, and it's, the beginning of the lunar year, and it's in Aries, which is really fiery, and like it's aligned with Mercury, Venus, and Chiron, and there's just a lot going on
A lot
energetically.
going on. A lot.
So we're supposed to like set the new intentions. Don't do that until like April 9th.
Okay.
So yeah, and with the Mercury in retrograde during the eclipse, yes, we're supposed to go and do and start on all these beautiful things that we want to manifest into our life, but we should not do it until April 25th. So this is not the time to, normally it would be a great time to start new things, but just not during the eclipse and not during a retrograde eclipse
Oh my
at that.
gosh.
So there's a lot going on, and it is a great time for new beginnings. It is a great time to write that 12-month plan now. And this is the planet's new year. I mean, because it's spring. We You shouldn't really start making plans on doing new things and having resolutions on December 31st. It's a terrible idea. But
Oh,
now, yeah, now's the time to do it, but not until April 25th. So
Okay.
But
Okay.
I
And that's
like
what you
to,
mean by 12-month plan. So like
yeah.
starting in spring, summer, fall, winter. So this is okay. I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's when the earth itself and the moon, like the moon right now is feels like it's a little closer to earth. And I believe that like just how the Chinese New Year is in February, I think it's at the beginning of the well, the solstice. It is at the beginning of one of the solstices. But this is beginning at the spring equinox. So yeah, we're
Hmm.
in spring officially, and it's a little chaotic out there. So make a good 12-year plan, really kind of
12 year or
release
12-month?
12-month.
12 month. Okay. I was like, girl, we're gonna be playing. We gotta sit down for a while and 12 years. Ooh, we're gonna be here. We'll be here
And
for a
don't
while.
forget God laughs at all of our plans. So
Oh, yes,
I'm
that's
kidding.
true.
But write everything in pencil because you don't know what's going to happen. You can have goals, you can have dreams, you can have aspirations, but you got to let go of that outcome. And that's another great thing about moon rituals and hypnosis is like all those intentions that you want to have, you can just really deep set those into your subconscious so you can just train your body to go after those things that you want to attract. Not go after those things, I should say that differently. It prepares you to be in your best self to help you attract the things you want to see manifest into your life.
Okay. And then, so when a person is just starting to get into this subject,
Mhm.
right? Where should they start? Like, do you have some favorite astrologers or where you learned this information from, other than coming to see Tanya herself to learn?
Yeah. There are a couple of astrologers that I really, really like. Channy Nichols, she has her own app, which is really, really awesome, and I like her app. But a lot of the astrology readings that you can find there's a lot of different astrologers on YouTube that's really good. And that's kind of how I got my start is watching different tarot card readings, especially if they were like tarot and astrology, because it's more centered on your sign and it does the astrology and it mixes in the tarot with that too. So we went all the way woo woo today.
We went super, yeah, because we know that hypnotherapy can be very like not woo woo or super woo woo, and depending on what you niche in and what you're interested in. Just so neat about hypnotherapy. You can find a hypnotherapist for anything.
Pretty much, pretty much. And I mean, there's still a lot of really, really amazing clinical hypnotherapists. And I do love my clinical hypnotherapy. I love doing things about anxiety and weight loss and nutrition. And, the great thing about doing the hypnotherapy with the astrology is that I can really remove those limiting beliefs at the time necessary to start something new. And that's one of the things during the eclipse that I'll be doing is tapping. We're going to work on some tapping. We're going to tap out the rest of our limiting beliefs. And then we're going to affirm some new instructions for your brain. So to act upon.
So if someone was to go to your website and sign up for one of these classes, do they have to do any type of prep work ahead of time?
No, just bring a pencil and a piece of paper or pen and paper to write with and just get into a comfortable space because we go over the astrology and then we do a group hypnosis and you can choose to just sleep it off or you can wake back up and either way you're going to learn something about yourself and how to manage through these times. Lots of conflicts are arising right now and just do your very best to keep a cool head because Aries is a very it's a fire energy. It's a very bold fire energy. I don't know if any of you know any Aries people in your life, and if you do, and you're really good friends, it's a very bold time.
And so when's the next one coming up?
So I am having an eclipse ceremony on the 8th at noon Central, which is literally going to be happening during the eclipse. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. We'll
That's
see
going
how
to be
that
pretty
goes.
powerful. And they can sign
But
up for this class on your website.
yes.
That's really neat.
So you can sign up for the class on my website. There's a link to book now. And if you're having any problems, you can just email me directly, Tanya@shinespirituality.com. And I can answer any questions there.
Nice.
And then
And
the
this is a
next,
Zoom session, right? So anyone
it
from
is
around
over.
the world.
Yes, anyone from around the world. And I will also be holding them on the full moon as well. So each and every new and full moon, I will have a workshop.
That's exciting.
I know, I know. It was just really different. Like, I didn't realize that it was going to go this way, but it's one of my favorite things. I really, really like it. And I think a lot of people are kicking the doors down of their broom closet and, stepping out to the lights. A lot of people are interested in astrology than we think. So it's good. I like that. My favorite part of any hypnosis thing that we do is to teach people about themselves. So I really, really like that part of it.
That is
No,
so
it's a great
neat.
time for self.
What would be a typical like what do you see people come forward with that they want to be able to like let go or set intention? What's really popular?
So timeline therapy, when people I like to take people back to when they acquired that limiting belief. I like to take people exactly to where they picked it up and they don't know that they picked it up. And the type of group hypnosis that I do, it just kind of envelopes that, even if you don't know when the thing that you don't want to do anymore started, but you want to let it go, especially for the full moon, like you're just done carrying it. Um, we do a lot of releasing, a lot of letting go. I think people are finally in an age where they know that there's something that's really, really heavy and they really don't want it anymore, but they can't really pinpoint it. It's literally an energy around them. So I think the best way, and that was the other thing. I always thought I was just going to be a one-to-one kind of hypnotherapist, but apparently I'm for everybody.
Like you said, God is funny. You're like, this is what I'm going to do with my practice, right? Like, we're going to do this stuff and this way, and it's going to be here. And then it's like, nope, we're going to do everything opposite.
Yep. Yep. And
Yep.
that's why when you have an outcome, don't get too attached to it because you might have better coming in. You might have something completely different. God laughs at our plans, it's and I say that in not a negative way, but in such a positive way,
Mhm.
because we have these ideas and then we are not really in control. Like the universe is so much bigger than we are. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but at least you can make a plan. And at least you can let go of the things you don't want. And at least you can make a statement to the universe about the things you do.
I
So
love that. Well, with that positive, beautiful message from Tanya, we're going to let everyone follow us next week. Don't forget, go to Tanya's website, sign up for her eclipse class, her full moon class. Like, this is a great time to release. And then after the Mercury retrograde, set intentions, that 12-month plan. Her details are going to be in our description below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
thank you.
Bye, everyone.